Hi creatives and welcome back to Agency Academy. My name is Malin and today I want to talk about how to batch create all of your marketing for a whole month in just a few days. So before we get into it, I run a design studio and I also run this company, Kayla, which is a tech app for creatives. And so I'm going to take you through what I do every single month to make sure that I'm batch creating everything for both of these two companies. And it's going to be everything from social media to creating Skillshare courses for passive income. The reason that I batch create is a couple different ones. The first one is it saves a ton of time because you can create everything at once. You get like a clear overview of everything you're going to post, so it makes sense together. If I'm posting case studies, I might be spreading them out over the month, so it's like a mix of content. The second reason is I've found that once I start getting busy with client work, marketing is kind of like the last thing that I have time for. So when I'm busy, I tend to drop a lot of the marketing if I don't batch create it. And that means that once all those projects are done, I don't have enough client work lined up. So by batch creating it, you're sort of creating like a consistency in your marketing. That means you always have new leads and new clients on the way in. The last reason I really like batch creating is I can do it all at once in just a few days, and then for the rest of the month, I know it's all done. I don't have to think about it. At the most, I'm gonna go in and answer comments and engage with the people who are there, but I don't actually have to come up with anything, which is usually the thing that takes the most time. So let's get into how to actually batch create. The very first thing that I have done, which has been the same now for maybe 6 months, is I have decided on which platforms and how often I'm going to post. And this is basically creating the basic schedule of what I am actually creating. So here's a little bit of an overview of what I post every month, just to get an idea of the type of or the amount of content that I need to create. So for my studio, I use LinkedIn as my main social media. I've noticed that this is where I actually get the most work. I've used Instagram and things like that in the past, but it just didn't work as well for me. So I'm using LinkedIn and I'm posting 3 to 5 times a week. So most weekdays basically. I also send one newsletter every week. And so I want to create content for that. I try to create 2 blog posts, so one every 2 weeks. And I also make one Skillshare course for passive income every month. And for Kayla, it's a very similar thing. Instead of LinkedIn, I am here on YouTube, so I'm posting once a week to YouTube. I'm also creating one Skillshare course a month for passive income and to say hi to the creative community. I have one newsletter that I send out every week, and I have 4 blog posts that I create every month. How much you decide to actually post, I think, is down to a couple different things. The first one is how much do you think you have time and energy for in your business? Of course, we want to make sure that we are posting enough to get enough eyes and attention into our content, but it's almost always that quality is better than quantity. So I think it's a good idea to maybe start with a lower amount of posts than you think you might be able to handle, and then you can always add on to it. But if you have that constant stress of feeling like you're never managing to actually have time for what you want, it becomes really demotivating and it's really hard to fulfill it. So start easy, start small, and start with the things that you want. Okay, so now I'm gonna jump into Notion and have a look at how I start scheduling this. Okay, so now we're in Notion and this is my marketing calendar. So the first thing I do is I want to just schedule out where they're going to be, not thinking about what exactly I'm going to post, just focusing on what day it needs to be done on. And so I try to have a clear schedule where, let's say, every Wednesday I post a YouTube video, or every Monday my newsletters go out. And so this just makes it easy for me to start filling in exactly what it is that I need to do. I've just created this as a calendar view, but I've also added a table view. So if you see this little area here, you can just click add view and you can choose like the type of view that you want. So like a timeline or a gallery or a list, for example. And so I have the table one, and here I have categorized them into which company it's for and if the task is complete or not. And I also have them organized by due date, so you can change that if you like. So you can just click sort, and then you can either do by complete, date, the categories that I've created. And if you want to see how to create a category, all you have to do is you have to click one of the cards, and then you can add a property here. So you can add like, for example, a checkbox like I did for if it's finished. You can add a multi-select, like maybe you have in progress or complete or things like that. Or you can have like this one where I have for the different companies that are like select the one that is appropriate. Okay, so now that we know exactly how often we need to post and what days the content is going to go out on, what I want to do is to start coming up with topic ideas. And this is where I start doing a little bit of research first. So I like to have a look at the platforms that I'm posting on and basically do two things. The first one is just to have a look at the things I've posted before and see what did best. And the second one is to have a look at other creators who have a similar audience and just see what they're doing and if there's anything that could inspire ideas for me. So I'm going to start having a look at Skillshare. So let's do that together. So I'm quite curious to create a class on something like creating a mood board. And so I'm just going to type mood board into the search field here. And I'm going to start to see what type of content people are creating. And so in this case, I'm starting to look for both how they're wording the actual titles, but also how many students are interested in the class. So things that have a lot of people who are watching it, that's a good sign that it's a topic people are interested in. And so in this case, I can see a lot of different ways to do mood boards, and there seems to be a big interest, and lots of them have lots of students. So I think that's a good topic. So I'm going to make that my first Skillshare topic. So then I just go into my marketing calendar and I'll just go to Kayla Skillshare, which is here. And then the first thing I'll do now is I'll type in the topic here. And so that's all I have to do for now. Now I have the topic for this one. You can also see a little bit of a note icon here, so we know we've done something on it. Then I'm gonna go into my YouTube and start looking at which content has performed best. Okay, so I can see that you guys have mostly watched my Notion videos, my Webflow portfolio videos, and my Skillshare videos this month, so that's something that I definitely am interested in. It seems like maybe it is most interesting with other creative tools or how to work on your business, a little bit about the packaging, so maybe like the kind of creative process as well, so there's some ideas there. Now that I've done a little bit of research, I try to kind of just brainstorm on different ideas. Because I have a couple core expertises in my business, like branding and packaging and illustration, I tend to start there and thinking about my conversations I've had with my clients this month, the things I've been learning from other creators and courses, and just try to think back to what were some questions that come up. You can start to kind of make it into branches. That's the way that I like to think about it. So I start with the main topic, like branding at the top, and then I try to think about breaking it down into different subcategories, like logo design, visual language, maybe choosing colors, things like that. And then those different branches can then have smaller branches. So you can think about, okay, under logo design, maybe I can talk about dynamic logos. Maybe I can talk about when should you have an icon versus a word mark. And starting to break it up in little small pieces of topics like that, they get more and more specific. And therefore you have ideas for topics already that you can start evolving and putting into your calendar. So that's what we're going to do now. Okay, so for example, I know that I want to create a newsletter today about what branding can do for your business. So I'm going to put that here. And then what I'll do after this is I'll just start to bullet point out my main points that I want to make. So basically starting to create this piece of content. Okay, so once I have the general outline, I can start to go in and I can either write the whole piece of content right in Notion, which is what I do for a lot of LinkedIn posts. But for some pieces of content, like when I'm creating my newsletters, I prefer to do it in MailChimp because of the formatting and things like that. So what I'll do is I'll just take it to a stage where it's basically ready to start scheduling, and I'll just go through each of the pieces of content that I'm creating, and I'm doing this kind of outline or even creating the full piece of content in Notion. So you can actually put a lot of different things inside of each of these cards in Notion. So you might put things like links, for example. So if I want to link to a piece of content that I've created, I can just create it as a bookmark and just grab that later. You can also start adding in other things in here. So you can use this type of card as a normal page, and you can start adding in to-do lists for each of these tasks. You could even add in images that you want to use. You can upload files if, let's say, you want to share something when you're posting, or if I'm doing a YouTube video and I'm sharing an asset with you guys, I might do that. And so this is a really good way just to keep everything organized into one place when you're creating content. So now that we have everything kind of outlined or bullet pointed in our calendar, first of all, that's a huge step. We're really close to actually being done. What we're gonna do now is any sort of filming or photography that we might need. So if I'm creating a YouTube video, I might actually film it, like right now, I'm sitting in the studio filming a piece of content for you guys. You might want to take pictures for your Instagram or for LinkedIn or for any other platform that you're on. I might create B-roll for YouTube videos, things like that, or filming a Skillshare class. And so you want to think about what type of content you want to create. And so I tend to do this on the next day. So the first day is planning, scheduling, and the second day is shooting and filming. And so on these days, you know, I know that the first day I can just be in comfy clothes. I don't have to think about it. I can just relax and do it at my own pace. And the second day when I'm shooting, I'll do my hair, I'll do my makeup, I'll get ready, I'll feel nice for taking all the photos and videos. And then you only have to get ready and do that on one day. And I think it's also a good thing because you're sort of thinking about the different settings and you're creating more consistency in the content that you're creating. I always try to switch a couple outfits and things like that so it doesn't look like, you know, a whole month of the same outfit. But it can always be good just to feel like you have a theme for the day that you're working on. The second to last step is just to edit everything. So this is when you're finalizing any of your writing, when you are cutting or editing your reels for Instagram or your YouTube video and making sure that everything is ready. And of course, depending on how much content you have to actually edit, you know, if it's a couple reels, maybe you can do it in a few hours. If it's, you know, 5 YouTube videos, maybe you'll want a couple days for that. So this is really where the difference in time depends on how much you're creating. But this is the next step. And then the last one is scheduling. And this is where we're using tools and making life a little bit easier just to make sure that the rest of the month we can, you know, drop it. We don't have to think about it. We can just focus on the other parts of our job. So depending on the platform, you can use different tools. I like to use a tool called Later. Later is a really good tool because it does have so many different platforms in one. So what I do is I just drag this create new text post into the area where I want to post it. And then it's going to come up here where I can create the caption, I can put the image, put any hashtags, things like that. So now I'm just going to head back into Notion and grab the copy that I've written here. So in this case, I've actually written out the whole post, including the hashtag. So I'm just going to go here, copy that, paste that in here. Okay, and then I'm just going to add the media, which is this image that I've created. It's an infographic, one of my absolute favorites, and then you just click save. And now you'll see that this is actually scheduled here for 12:35 on Wednesday. So you can do the same thing in other platforms like YouTube, or you can use Later for Instagram or for Pinterest or LinkedIn, whatever you want. And so once everything is scheduled, that's it. That's everything that you actually need to do. And now you have a month's worth of content. Now, I will say I'm doing this on a monthly basis at the moment, but I actually used to do it every 2 weeks before. And on occasions when I am super busy, I have done it once a week. But I think it's really good to do it once a month or at least every 2 weeks, just to have a little bit of that breathing space in between. And especially when you're creating longer form things like videos or, well, you know, things that take a lot more time to create all at once. I think it's really good to do them all together so that you don't feel like, oh, I have to get ready, I have to set up my filming space, I have to, you know, make sure that everything looks nice and tidy at home. So I think it's nice to only have to do that a couple times a month. I'm super curious if scheduling and batching and planning your content like this is something that you do. And if you find this type of content helpful, I'd love to do more videos that are more in depth on maybe specific channels, like exactly how I come up with ideas for LinkedIn or for YouTube or things like that. So just let me know in the comments what you're interested and curious about to see more of. If you liked the video, make sure to like it, subscribe, and hit the notification bell if you want to get notified when we post next time. I really hope this was helpful, so thank you so much for watching and good luck with your projects and your marketing. See you next time.